it's Day, and today I'm going to be talking about how I taught my Korean students about black hair. That's right, I taught my students about black hair, and I shared that on Facebook, and it got over 800 shares, which is absolutely amazing. So it seemed like my message was something a lot of people could vibe with. So I thought I should do this video because a lot of people were asking me, how did I make the PowerPoint and what did I talk about? So I have my laptop here. Don't mind my stickers. Don't mind like it being broken. It's really embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm also recording my PowerPoint that I made here, so I will also be editing and talking like through it together, and that way you guys can incorporate it in your own classroom as well. First off, I decided to teach my Korean students about black hair. So if a lot of you guys don't know, I am an English teacher here in Seoul, Korea, and I love it here. It's absolutely amazing, and my kids are wonderful, and they're very curious about my hair. They're always wanting to touch it and talk about it, and we can't communicate because I can't really elaborate that in Korean and they can't really elaborate it in English. So I know we kind of want to have this discussion, and I knew it was there, but we couldn't really communicate. So I thought, okay, eventually I wanted to make a lesson about this, even if it's just briefly, just so that they can kind of have a better understanding and their questions could be answered. So we have like kind of a break in our class schedule, and originally my teacher was like, you know, you can do about Thanksgiving, but I was feeling kind of weird about Thanksgiving because I was like, yeah, but the history behind it is not that good. She's like, well, you know, it's your birthday, so 'cause it's the day of my birthday, so she's like, you can also just do something about you. But I was like, what could I do? And I thought, okay, I think this is the perfect time to talk about my hair. So I decided to write up this lesson about my hair. I was super excited to do it just because, as I mentioned earlier, the students were very curious, and two, I just think that education is so powerful, and like if you're given an opportunity or a platform to educate about diversity in other cultures, then I definitely say take advantage of it, just because a lot of these kids, they're just kids. Like, kids are wanting to learn. They want to know more about anything and everything. They're always asking questions, right? Because that's what kids naturally do. I think even as adults, we don't really lose this. I just think we're kind of like molded into like accepting things. So probably to a lot of my students, I might be their first black teacher they ever had, but that may not mean I'll be the only one. So I just think that the power of education will allow me to really talk to them about my hair and about black culture. And so that way, when they have future black teachers, you know, they can kind of resonate a bit more with that teacher. They can kind of understand the teacher more, especially with Korea becoming more multicultural. They kind of like be able to really connect more with a lot of the black people that do come and live here. And that's why I just think that having that education, that platform is just so important, because it's not just that moment, but it's just the ripple effects that it'll have in the future. And so that's kind of like my driving force of doing this, was just so I want them to connect with me as your teacher, but I also want them to connect with other teachers and other black people or other people in general in the future. And I just want them to be able to share what they learned with me, with their friends, and with other folks, just because you never know, like what I taught them, it would just be so cool to just hear them, like if they have another black teacher and one of their friends try to touch that black teacher's hair. It'd be so cool if they were like, wait, no, hey, you can't do that. My teacher back in elementary said that it's disrespectful to just touch people's hair, and I wouldn't like that, and you wouldn't like that, so this teacher wouldn't like that, right? Like, it would just be so cool if they were like able to kind of just say that, and then the other student would be like, oh, yeah, you know, you're right. So yeah, that's why I decided to teach my Korean students about black hair. All right, so what did I exactly teach them? So I had about 10 to 15 minutes, so I'd love to do more, but I just didn't have enough time. So first off, I went over hair types, and I just discussed the different types of hair. So I mentioned, like, you know, here's one is straight, and then 2A is kind of like more wavier, curly, kinky, curly, up to 4C. I do my best to try and incorporate other colors because I think that's so important. Like, even outside of, sorry, kind of diverging, but even outside of like talking about hair and like other lessons I do, like I try to make sure in my PowerPoint to always include black people for sure, just because they don't see it. But also I try to include Asians, and especially Koreans if I can, just because they really think that Koreans don't live in America, or like Koreans who speak like fluent English, they're just like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, we have Asians too in the US. Besides the point. So Yeah, and then I also had this image about other curls here and just like a little bit more in depth because I just wanted them to really see the differences in the curl patterns. So I kind of just showed them this image, and then I just spoke about just, you know, 1A, 2B, 3B, 3C, 4A, 4B, 4C. And then I just told them like my hair type is 4C, so this is how my hair is just as a natural afro. Obviously I have locks, but I just showed them this is how my hair is like if it wasn't locked. And there was a couple students in my class who had 2B hair, so that was kind of cool because they were kind of like, oh, like I have that hair naturally. And also perms is really common in Korea. Like they usually do like the wavy hair perm, and how like, yeah, like there's also wavy perms, but you know, some people's hair is naturally like this. So yeah, they found that really interesting. So then I went over black hair and I just showed a few images of black people's hair. And again, I didn't have that much time, guys, so like obviously there's so much more like that I could have added, but I just showed them like, you know, this is how black hair is. So these are like afros, and you can see the curl patterns and now they're different here. And then I was like, oh, my hair's kind of like hers. I told them about locks here and here, and I was like, yeah, this is what your teacher has, see? And then I said, you know, the natural afro. I was really kind of disappointed because when I was Googling images of like black women in natural hair, I could not find particularly like dark skinned black women. It actually kind of took me a little bit to kind of search, like I had to be like dark skinned black women afros, dark skinned black women locks, like that. Like, so that is kind of one thing that I was like, okay, we still have a lot to work on. Anyway, yeah, so I have a picture of dark-skinned girls because I think they're obviously the least represented, and I'm also dark-skinned too, so hey, like we exist. So yeah, so then I showed one with afro hair, and then I showed one in braids and like really cool style, and I was like, you know, we can also straighten our hair too, so I showed one of straight hair. So then after I talked about the afro, just kind of like the same images from above, and just like what I mentioned earlier, different curl patterns basically. And I did say that you can style it in different ways, but again, I just didn't have time to really go in depth about it. So I was just kind of like, yeah, afro, different curl patterns, you can style it too, but this is our natural hair in its most natural state. Braids, I was like, yeah, so there are braids. This is kind of how it looks like when you're beginning to braid. As you can see the natural afro hair here, and then you can see how she's starting to braid her hair. And there are just many ways you can braid. You can just have like just straight down braids. You can have bigger braids and like cute little braids with like beads in them and other designs. You can have colored braids. You can have design braids. They thought this was pretty cool, so I was like, yeah, it's like such an art form. And it's just so diverse. So I was just telling them about that. Really simple. And then I went to locks. Obviously, I guess I have a lot more images with locks. Maybe I kind of connect with locks a little bit more. But yeah, so I talked about locks, and I talked about how there's different types of locks. There's big, fat, thick locks, and then there's like skinnier locks, and then this is kind of what my hair looks like now. And I was saying there, see, it's kind of twisted together. And then I said you can do like Sailor Moon, there's different colors, you can even do like a really cool like mohawk and buns. And they were just like, wow, teacher, this is so amazing. Like they just could not believe that you could do so much with like locks and black hair. As I was explaining this to them, they were playing in their own hair and they were trying to like do things with it, and it just wouldn't stay. And they're just like, why can't my hair do that, teacher? And I'm like, yeah, black hair is pretty dope. Like it can do a lot. So then next I talked about beauty standard, and I was like, hair has always been hard for us, and especially because of like politics and beauty standard societal ideas that exist. So I mentioned here about how in US that we are still discriminated based off our hair, how a lot of black girls can't get jobs or even go to school if they have like natural hair, which is absolutely ridiculous, but still a thing. And this is where one of my students was like, teacher, I fight them, I will fight them. And then another student behind him was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, you guys are so sweet. I wish you could just go up and beat them up and then life would be happy. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. But it is changing, so. And I also mentioned beauty standard. I mentioned about how straight hair is just typically seen as the ideal beauty. And I told them too that that is changing, and that we constantly need to embrace and accept all types of hair, all types of people. Locks, afro hair, natural hair, everything is just absolutely so beautiful. And the fact that it's so diverse and has such cultural enrichment to it, and just a lot of like history and a lot of like empowerment. I think that in itself kind of just makes it so freaking beautiful, and that we're so lucky to have this kind of hair, I think. And I just can't wait for the world to see it that way too. So I just tell them, yeah, it's beautiful and you're beautiful too, and you know, like diversity is awesome, guys. So then after, I decided to talk about being respectful, and I said that don't touch without asking first, because many Black people feel like animals when you freaking touch our hair, because we're not like, you know, your dog. We're not like here just walking like, oh, I want to pet you. Like, no, don't do that. No. Okay, kids, don't do that. Don't do that. So I told him, no, you can't just touch us, okay? Heck, even asking can be kind of iffy, but you know, I don't mind if people ask me, and if I tell them no, I hope they respect that. I'm like, okay, cool. Because people have asked me, and I've more than likely have said no to them, and I just want them to respect my decision, you know. But there are times if you ask me, I might let you, but just know that it's just kind of still weird, like, you know, you're asking someone. So we kind of put more emphasis on just leave it alone. And they're like, yeah, okay, teacher. And then I talked about how our hair is not fashion or style. This is a big problem, especially in Korea, where hip hop is huge here. If you're not familiar with Korea, yeah, Korea's like hip hop culture. Like rap is big. Just everything about it is huge here, which is like awesome, but like not awesome at the same time, just because you definitely get a lot of cultural appropriation. So a lot of times students will see my hair and always call it reggae hair, which like is obviously not correct, or like hip hop hair or hip hop style. And I'm like, dude, this is just my hair. So yeah, I just wanted to let them know that our hair is not fashion, it's not a trend, it's just who we are, it's our hair. And there's just so much more to it. It's so easy for people to think that it's a trend or a fashion, but it's like, it's a political statement, it's an art, it's a history. There's a lot more to it than just being a fashion trend, but they're kids. So I understand they don't really fully understand everything, and especially if I'm like the first Black person they've ever met. But I did just put emphasis like, hey, like try not to say reggae hair or hip hop style, just because it's more than that. It's who we are, and we are proud. We are very proud. So after I just went ahead and touched on the fact that diversity is beautiful, which it is, and I sent a picture of me and my friend who's Korean. I was trying to like add Koreans to it. I was like, okay, this is a Korean picture. There are so many people who come in all these shapes and sizes and colors and all these cultural, religious, political, whatever background, but that's like absolutely awesome that we're all coming together. And I like this image because it's in Korea, but you can see all these other children from all these other countries coming together in this little image. I thought that was really cool, just because it kind of shows them like, hey, even in Korea, you know, you're going to see more people from other cultures, and that's absolutely amazing. I actually kind of told them too that they're also beautiful in their own way as well, just because Korean beauty standards are quite high and intense, and a lot of them it's just like not looking Korean. Like I don't know how to really explain it, but like not liking their eyes or having to have the white skin tone, and kids are already kind of getting bullied by that. So I just wanted to let them know that I found their features to also be beautiful too, that I was like, you guys are beautiful, we're beautiful, I'm beautiful, these people in these pictures are beautiful, like we're all beautiful. So you know what, guys, that's why life is awesome, and that's why I love you all, and I'm here, and I love me, and I love the world. And I was just kind of going on. I hope that this was helpful. If you guys have any questions too, just let me know. But that's kind of like what I discussed. So depending on the age of who you're teaching, you can, you know, change things or add things. Even if you couldn't do like a class, I think just letting them know to like just simple things like, hey, like I just wanted to let you know real quick that, you know, I don't like it when you guys touch my hair, and I just want you to respect me for that. Like even just something as simple as that, you know, I think it's good, you know. But if you have like a whole entire like class session, I think there's so much more you could do. Like I only had like 10 to 15 minutes, but if you had like 40 minutes, like, oh, you could do so much, right? I just thought it was so cool, and I really loved doing this class, and it was so cool. Just everyone's cool. My students are cool. You guys are cool. I will link the Facebook link below so you can kind of read too, just because my student, yeah, I forgot to say. So it was actually really cool. So like at the end, we were playing a game, and I just kind of had music going on in the background, and a Maroon 5 Girls Like You video came up, and there was a girl with afro that came up, and one of my students was like, teacher, 4C hair? And I go, oh my god, it was so funny. I laughed a little bit, and I was like, yes, dear, you know what, yes. He's like, oh, okay, teacher. I'm like, you're so cute, I love you. Oh. So yeah, you'd just be amazed. Like it already kind of was like starting to impact. Like he could already kind of recognize, oh, like that looks like 4C hair, that's 4C hair, like already. Isn't that awesome? Oh my god, like education, guys. This is the power right here. Education. If you have the power, if you have the ability, do it. I'm done now, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Day saying have a wonderful day. Bye.